Hey everyone, I have a new little Christmas angel to share with y'all. I know it's February, but I like to share angel projects all year long, and I like to make Christmas projects all year long. And so even though this is early for Christmas, I wanted to share it with you. And so it would hopefully inspire you and maybe make you start thinking about projects that you want to make for the upcoming Christmas season, for ornaments for your tree, or little gifts, or just fun little tokens to tie onto the outside of packages. So these are the three little angels, and we're going to make a fourth one today. And I can't wait to share these with y'all. Let's see. You can see how tiny they are. I have them laying flat just for the purposes of filming, but they stand up or they'll hang. So you see how they'll stand up, or you can use them as a little ornament on a tree or a gift tag. So this is the little angel. She has her halo and her little sparkly wings and her little tag that says Christmas Angel on it. So this is a purple one. And this is a little pink one. She has her sweet little face on here. And I'm going to show y'all a trick for doing the faces today that just makes these super easy when you're trying to do a face on a round surface. So this is what we're going to make. I'm going to scoot these over here up into the corner. Leave those right here. So this is what I use to make these. These are little wooden peg dolls. They're the smaller ones. You get 5 of them for $1.99. I purchased mine from Hobby Lobby. But these are flat on the bottom in unfinished natural wood. So this is what we're starting with. They're these little peg dolls. They're the smaller ones, like I said. So what you're going to want to do first is you're going to want to paint the body, whatever pretty little color you want to paint the body, and then you're going to want to paint the head. Okay? So I used just acrylic paint for the head. And then I had some pearly paint, and this is Martha Stewart. And again, it doesn't have to be pearl, but these are the colors that I wanted to use. And so I painted each one a different color. So we did a blue, a pink, a purple, and then the green, the mint color. So paint your bodies with your paint and let them dry. Paint your head and let it dry. Then we're going to get to the fun part. So this is what I wanted to share with y'all for a surefire way to make a face and not mess it up. There is this company, and it is called Peachy Keen Stamps, and they make all these wonderful faces, teddy bear faces and gingerbread faces and snowman faces and dolls and angels, and they're a really wonderful collection of stamps, and they are still available. It is this company right here, and it's Peachy Keen Stamps, and the particular tiny one that I'm using today came from PK 3000, and it is this little stamp right here. But you can see that there's different sizes included in this one set. So if you wanted to make the peg doll, on the slightly larger wooden peg, this set also comes with a larger face in it. So you can see the different sizes. And I will put the information for Peachy Keen Stamps in the description of my video in case you're interested in ordering. So this is the set that I used for the face, and I'm going to show y'all a really fun product to use that to me is just very user-friendly for making faces. So if you've never worked with mulberry paper, it is absolutely fantastic. I usually order mine. There's a company, I think it's mulberry.com mulberry.com or mulberrypaper.com. Again, I'll put the link in my description. And you can buy, there's just tons of colors, and there's different thicknesses and widths and sizes. And so this is just some kind of off-white mulberry paper. And you can see, now I folded mine so it's got wrinkles in it, but usually it comes in a flat sheet, but I just keep my little snippet folded. But you can see it has little fibers in it, and it lends to a really great texture for making faces on round objects because you can shape it and it will take glue really well. And it's not like tissue paper. If you've ever stamped on tissue paper, sometimes your ink will have a tendency to creep and you lose your design. Mulberry paper, one side is a little bit rougher and one side is really smooth. So I always stamp on the smooth side, and it grabs your ink without your ink creeping. So this is our mulberry paper, and that's what we're going to stamp this little face on. So I'm going to show you. Cut a little snippet, and I am using a permanent pigment ink, black ink. This is VersaFine Nocturne, which is just black. And so lightly, you just want to get the faintest little bit of ink on it and just do a light impression. You don't want to mash it hard and get the heavier. Just do a very light. The stamp company is so great. You don't have to put a lot of pressure down at all. Just lightly stamp it. I'll do two since I have a little bit bigger piece of paper. So I have my two faces. And I'm just going to eyeball this and cut sort of a round shape. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of get it a little bit round or elliptical. And that one, right? So I'm going to trade this out with one I've already stamped so that I know my ink is very, very dry. And I'm just going to cut this one out. And if some of y'all are wonderful at painting on the beads or round surfaces, you can skip this step. I'm not great at it. So I love using the little Peachy Keen face stamps to do my angel faces with. So there's her little face. So I wanted some little eyelashes, y'all. So I have a very fine little tip pen, and I'm just going to go in and very faintly just do a couple of eyelashes on the corner. You just want to do the teeny tiniest little eyelashes on the corner. You don't have to. You can leave her just plain, but I wanted her to have a couple of little eyelashes. So let's see, y'all. Grab a couple little supplies. And I want to do my eyelashes on this one that I'm leaving over to dry. Just do teeny tiny faint little eyelashes on the outside for little lines for lids. Okay, so now I want to watercolor her face. So I have a little watercolor palette, and I just use markers, watercolor markers. I use the Tombow, and I just put a little bit of pink on my palette. And I'll get a couple of different pinks. One of the lighter one is 800 and this one is 761. So those are the ones I like to use a lot for face colors, cheek colors. So you're going to, let me get my little cup over here for my watercolors. Dip your brush in and just get the teeniest little bit of water and then just kind of pinch it off. And get some cheek color on. And then just add her little cheeks. Just eyeball it. And just add a little pink for her cheeks. And then I'm going to use a little bit of a darker pink just to do a little dot where her mouth is. Open. Okay, so that's her face. That's it. Her face is done. We're going to let that dry for just a second. I'm going to put my watercolor palette back up. So we have our peg doll. Let's move my water back over. I'm going to use some Eileen's tacky glue. And I'm going to get a little bit of glue. Just go ahead and squeeze it out on a little card. Because we're also going to use that for her hair, so it won't go to waste. Let's see, y'all. I have an extra card. Let me grab an extra card. Okay. So, pick her face up, and you're going to want to put just a little bit of glue on the back. You want to cover the whole surface, but you want a thin film of glue. And so, again, the mulberry paper has a side that's a little more textured or cloth-like. And so we're putting the glue on the cloth-like side. Get that on there. Then take your face and just put it right on top of that bead. And then you're going to want to work it on to smooth those wrinkles out. And that is like the fun part about the mulberry paper is because it's very fibrous, you can really work with it and shape it. And it just kind of molds and blends to whatever you're gluing it to. It's a medium that I have worked with a lot for a lot of years, and it's just a really versatile type of paper. So got a little bit of a bump right there. Mash, get that out. So there's her face, and look how easy that was, y'all. And you just glued her right on. So the next thing I do, in order to kind of blend, since my paper doesn't match exactly the paint, I usually go back over it with a little bit of the paint color that you want to use for your face. And just to kind of help blend it, I take a little bit more of that paint color and right along the edges of where I attach the mulberry paper, I just dab over top of the edge of it, the sort of the seam of it. And as you'll see, it just kind of gives the illusion of it disappearing. You see how you kind of lose the edge, and you can't even really tell at that point that it's a piece of paper glued to your bead. So, I'm gonna let that dry a second before we move on to her hair. Let me put my brush in the water and clean it. So while I'm letting that dry a second, let's talk about what do we want to talk about next? Let's talk about the hair we're going to use. If you've ever watched any of my craft makes, I love this product. I buy it at Hobby Lobby at Christmas. It is their Curly Snow. It comes in a bag, plastic bag. It's about $4 before any discounts. And it's a pretty nice size bag, and it just lasts forever. So it's just this white curly snow. But I like to use it as snow on crafting products that I glue, but I also love to use it for angel hair because it's just, to me, a sweet, fun little product to use. So this is the hair that we're going to use. So I like to just pull a little bit apart. And then just kind of shape it with your fingers a little bit. So you can kind of get an idea of how you're going to glue it on. So, and I always say this, but this is really true with this stuff. There's no right or wrong way to do it, because usually after I put the glue on, I just kind of play with it until I get it the shape that I want. So you're going to take your glue and just rub it over the paint and along the edges of your face. So basically anywhere you want the hair to be. Just put your glue on. Again, I'm using Eileen's tacky glue. And I do recommend that. I don't recommend hot glue for the hair because the tacky glue gives you more time to kind of play with it and get it the shape that you want before it dries than the hot glue would. So I'm going to make sure I put glue all up around wherever you want our hair to glue. And then just press it on, y'all. And then just kind of work with shaping it. Make sure you get all your glue covered. It doesn't have to be perfect because the back of her is really not going to show once we put our halo on. But you really want most of it covered. And then the other thing is, after the glue dries, if you want to take your scissors and kind of trim it down some, you can do that if you have any little fuzzy pieces or if it's too poofy in some areas. So there is her face and her hair. And the next thing I want to do is give her some clothes. And I keep just all kinds of little snippets of lace, just little bits and pieces. And I just mixed and match little different kinds of lace to go on. And this is up to you too. You can have as little or as much showing of her paint that you want. So I'm going to trim her. Let's see. And this lace that I'm using does have the sticker on the back. It's self-adhesive. These weren't. I just straight glued these, but this one does have a little bit of adhesive on it. So I'm going to use that. And just want to glue in the front. And I want a little bit of the green showing at the bottom. So I'm going to glue about there. Go around to the back. And then I'm just going to trim the extra off. Get a little bit better scissors. Right? So that's the start of her dress. And then I used, in order to make her little capes, and they're all wearing the same sort of little capes, I used some of the thinner lace that's more, just kind of more netting shaped. And I just cut a little piece, and I kind of cut each end on an angle. And then I took and I glued a little bit down on each side, like so, as if I was making her a cape. All right? So just use some Eileen's glue and glued that. And when you do, you end up with this, where it's just folded over on each side just a little bit. So I'm going to glue this on her. So I'm going to put some glue on this. And don't worry about any glue showing or anything showing through, because we're going to glitter her afterwards, and the glitter will cover up any of the glue that may be showing. So bring this around and just glue this on. And it kind of gives the effect of her having like a little robe on, or a little gossamery gown. And you may have to hold it a second since the lace is so porous, so it will, the glue will start to hold it down some. Okay? Just work that in so it stays. And that's her little gown. And that's the fun part about this. You can use whatever little fabric snippets or ribbons or lace or whatever colors you love. I went with a creamy off-white, but you can do white or blues or pinks or just any little extra little pieces you have in your old fabric stash and remnants. So this is her little cape around her. And then, let's see, y'all. Let me grab one little thing that I didn't put on my desk. I put little pearls at the top, little adhesive pearls at the top of each one, like a button clasp or a brooch. So let's get the little pearls out. And we're going to add those on. And these are just some of the self-adhesive. But sometimes I end up having to put a little dollop of glue on the back. Sometimes they don't want to adhere. So we'll see if we have luck with this one. And I may actually just go ahead and add a little dollop of glue right in the center where I want it to stick. And put her little pearl right in the center where you made her little lace cape. All right, so that's her hair, her face, her gown, her body. So, I almost stuck her down in the glue. So let's talk about the wings. You have quite a few options when doing her wings. I used a die cut for her wings. This is her wing, and it is from a die cut from Cottage Cuts, the little angel, and it is this right here. It cuts this. It's CC-020, and it cuts really sweet little delicate angel wings. So I did use that. If you don't have a die cut machine or you don't have an angel wing die cut, another thing that you can use, if you have a butterfly stamp, stamp your butterfly and cut a butterfly out. And butterflies make great little wings also. So I wanted to mention that too. You can just cut a stamped image of a butterfly out and add it to the back of your angel if you don't have a die cut machine. So that is an option. But I used this particular little die cut, and I just cut it out on some mint green cardstock. And I used a little bit of Distress Ink tea dye to distress it just a little bit, just because I wanted her to have a little bit of an aged look. And just lightly went around the edges. the angel wings. I'll do a little bit on the back as well. And then after I distress it, I'm just going to fold it over, y'all, like in the center, and bend it, because it helps me figure out exactly where I have to glue it in the center on the back of her. So I'm going to do that. And I would normally hot glue this part, but I don't have a hot glue gun at where I film. So I'm going to use the Eileen's glue. Going to put it right in the center of where I want her wings in the back. And glue her little wings on. And I'm going to stick her beside this just so I can make sure I have her wing about the same height as her little angel friend. Okay, so I'm going to let that glue set for just a second. And we're going to talk about the little silver at the bottom. And you don't have to add the silver at the bottom, but I like it. I think it's just an extra little touch. So I just use silver pipe cleaner. And I'm going to use an extra bead. Let's see, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and open up this pack. Use one that's not painted. And just take your pipe cleaner and go around and twist. So it's not too tight because you want to be able to slide it off and put it on another one, but you want to twist it so it's sealed in the back. Just bend that down, pull it off, and then we're going to clip. Well, we're going to not drop our phone. So, sorry about that, y'all. Let me check to make sure we're still somewhat in focus. That's a first. Okay, so clip the extra pipe cleaner off, and you just have a little round ring. Go around the bottom of your angel and put a little bit of Eileen's glue around the bottom. Just enough to hold your pipe cleaner on. And then you just slide it on. And you have your little angel. So her halo, let's talk about that. It's also made with pipe cleaner. And let me find where I put one of the silver pieces of pipe cleaner, y'all. Thought I had an extra piece over here. I'll just show y'all with a piece of gold. So on your pipe cleaner, in order to do this, I just used a thin end of a paintbrush and use that as the base of the halo. So just go around and then pull it off, bend it down, and then you'll just clip it. And you may have to play with it a second to get it straight, but that's how you get the halo. And just whatever you use, like as your round piece, it can be a pen or a marker, or like I said, a paintbrush. Just use whatever you want the size of the round part of your halo to be. So I'm going to trim this down just a smidge, because I don't want it to be this long. And again, this is something I would do with hot glue for the halo. but we're going to use Eileen's, which is fine. Just, you have to hold it an extra second to get it to set up. And put it right coming down her back. And you want it to show right above her head and her hair. You have her little halo. Can y'all see that, y'all? How sweet is that? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is, after it all sets up and it's completely dry, you're going to want to use a little bit of Mod Podge and just take a paintbrush, and wherever you want the glitter to be, just dab it on. And I usually use an old paintbrush because Mod Podge has a tendency to ruin paintbrushes. So I just usually use an old one and get a little Mod Podge on. And I don't do her hair or her face, but I like some on her wings. And I like some on her body. And especially on the lace, because it makes the lace in her gown just really sparkly. And I do the back of the wings. Uh-oh, y'all. That's moving on me, where I didn't let it dry good yet. But just put a little bit of Mod Podge on. Then I use the Rock Candy Glitter by Ranger because it's crystal clear. It doesn't have the Prismacolors in it. And to me, it gives you a very antique, old-timey Christmas look. So I just spoon some over. I like to use a wooden spoon because your glitter doesn't cling to it when you're using it. So, and just put it over. If you want her to have a little more, just go back in. If you feel like a little spot didn't get as much glitter as you want, you can just add a little bit more. Just sprinkle a little bit more on. I'm going to get a little bit more on her wings right here. Okay. I'm going to stick her right there for just a second. Move this back. Let me put my lid on. So I want to show y'all the kind of glitter that I use. It's my favorite glitter. So I use this. It's Ranger Distress Rock Candy. And if you've watched my other videos, I like to use it because, as you can see, it doesn't pick up any of the Prismacolors, the rainbow. And it's literally crystal clear. And I just think it does a wonderful, beautiful look when it dries to give things like a very vintage Christmas look. So that's the glitter that I use. So let me move a couple of things, y'all. Leave her there drying. And I want to show y'all for the tag while she dries a second. I found this wonderful set. It is by a company called Lili of the Valley, and they are on Etsy. And again, I'll put their information in my description. But they have these little clear stamp sets. And they have all these wonderful sayings on it. But I got this one because it had one that said Christmas Angel. And I just absolutely loved that. So her little tag is made with this set. And I used, y'all know I like to use old book pages for my paper to stamp on. So I just used the margins of some old book pages and stamped in the margins. I love the texture of the paper, and I love the vintage feel to it. So I just stamp in the margins of an old book and cut it out. And I stamped just some different pastel color inks. It's really up to you, whatever you want to use. I used a little green and purple and blue. Let's see what else. There's a pink. And then I did some little just kind of neutral taupe colors. But you can use whatever color you want. But y'all, that company is just absolutely amazing. And I love their little stamps. So this is the little stamp, and it's just Christmas Angel, and you just cut it out. And after you cut it out, I just used a hole punch and punched a little hole in the tag so we can put some string through it. Now here's what I want to show you about the little strings on this. You see the little bows and how delicate they are? When you go to look, find cotton string. The cotton string, when it's thin, will just hang and tie and drape so easily. So this is just a spool of cotton string, but it's easy to tie with, and it I just think it gives it that old-timey look too, because it doesn't have any of the polyester coatings on it or anything like that. So you're going to want to take a little hole punch and punch through on the little corner of her wing. A little hole. And then you're going to want to tie her tag on. All right. And so just tie a little bow. And then the only other thing, if you want them to be ornaments so that they will hang, just get you some little twine or string. And again, I used something that was cotton based so that it wouldn't stand up stiff, that it would fold down if I wanted to just set them on a table. And just do you a little loop knot and hot glue that on the back. So I just tied a little loop knot and some string and just hot glue it on the back of your angel if you want it to be an ornament. And that's it, y'all. That is all that goes into making her. It's a super fun, sweet project. And you can just let your imagination go wild with these. All the different paint colors and all kinds of different little fabrics and trim and different things that you can use just become so much fun. Let me slide these over so you can look at them again. So there she is. Those are the 4 little angels. And that's it, y'all. How much fun is that? And they're all made with the little wooden peg dolls. So thanks for watching.